LSU actually land the number one offensive tackle in the transfer portal? I'm beginning to think just maybe. Let's talk about it. Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get great podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. And as always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. Thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network in the world. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We got a lot to delve into today, and one thing that is really on my mind right now, because I have been asked this question over and over and over and over and over again by LSU fans, and man, you are right to ask the question. And the question that people keep asking is if LSU could land Jordan Seaton. Now, if you're not familiar, we've talked about him a little bit, so shout out to our everydayers because you've already heard us discuss this. But Jordan Seaton is a big-time offensive tackle from Colorado. Now, he's from the D.C. area. He was a 5-star plus in the high school recruiting rankings. And he goes to Colorado there to play for Dion. And during his time at Colorado, he starts 22 games. Absolutely incredible player, just when you talk about the ability. He is, by all projections, going to be a first-round pick in the 2027 draft, provided he decides that he wants to come out in the 2027 draft after his junior season, and is very likely going to be the first offensive tackle taken in that draft. I mean, he is the Will Campbell. He is the Penei Sewell. He's the guy. He is the 6'5", 300-pound athletic offensive tackle that everybody thinks about building around when you're building an offensive line. So this is the guy that, man, everybody would be interested in landing. Here's the problem from LSU's perspective, as I see it. The problem is that the market started, according to multiple reports, the market started at $2.5 million. And the expectation is that not only is that market at $2.5 million, but the price tag is likely actually to get above $3 and maybe closer to $4 million for Jordan Seaton. Now, this is my biggest hang up here when we talk about Jordan Seaton as a possibility for LSU. LSU has everything to sell. I mean, it's Lane Kiffin. He's the portal king. It's the SEC. It's all of these things, right? All of the things that if you're selling someone, it's look at the portal class. They've already assimilated. You brought in Sam Leavitt. You're going to play in the SEC. You're going to compete for a championship. You can be part of it. Direct path to the field. You don't have a left tackle. All that. But I keep coming to this point where I say, man, at some point, as amazing as this portal class is, and LSU currently has the number one transfer portal class in the country, and it's not close. And it's remarkable what they've done. They've retained the top 6 guys they wanted to retain. I've told you before, these were the 6 that they prioritized. Whit Weeks, Braylon, in no particular order. Whit Weeks, Braylon Moore, DJ Pickett, Harlem Berry, Tradez Green, and PJ Woodland. They've retained them all. You've added 30 guys in the portal, 30 players in the portal, including the number one player in the portal in Sam Leavitt, which cost you more than $5 million. You've brought in Winnie Watkins from Ole Miss, which cost you probably close to $1 million to do. You brought in arguably the best edge rusher in this portal class in Jordan Ross coming in from Tennessee, a former 5-star. You brought in the number 3 receiver in this portal class coming in from Penn State. You have brought in an amazing, you have done what everyone thought LSU was going to do, which was go spend a bunch of money and bring in the best transfer portal class. But it's not an endless supply of cash. It just can't be an endless supply of cash. If it were an endless supply of cash, Cam Coleman would be here as well. Cam Coleman, dynamite receiver from Auburn. The number I was told was $3.5 million. And LSU said thanks, but no thanks. They signed 9 or 10 receivers in this class, in this portal class, and great ones. But they passed on the number 1 receiver because the number was $3.5 million. We're good. Okay. So there's some restraint there. So I look at this and what they've already done, and I go back to what I was told before this portal cycle started, and I'm using deductive reasoning here, okay? And I'm going to get to my end point, which is that LSU may actually be in the mix for this guy. I'll get to my point in a second. Just let me work through it. I'm using deductive reasoning going, okay, when this thing started, I knew they wanted to sign right at about 30 guys. Well, they're there. They're right at 30. I knew it was going to be single-digit defensive players. If you're an everydayer, you've heard me say that over and over and over. They're at 7 defensive players. Boom. Right where they are. 2 interior players, 2 edge players. You got a couple of defensive back, a starting defensive back in Ty Benefield, and a few defensive backs that are project guys. Perfect. You're at 7. Cool. You're done defensively. You've got, I knew the number for Trinidad Chambliss. I told you was just shy of $4 million. It was going to be like 385. Well, you end up spending more than $5 million for Sam Levitt. So you spent more than you thought you would on a quarterback by $1.5 million, thereabouts, roughly. So the point is, you've done what you thought you were going to do. You've probably spent more than you thought you were going to spend. And now you're going to look at the guy that's, by the way, on 3 ranks Jordan Seaton as the number 4 overall prospect in the portal. Number 1, Sam Levitt. Number 2, who LSU paid over $5 million. Number 2 is Cam Coleman, who his number was 3.5, and Texas got him, so you know they paid. Chaz Coleman, the edge from Penn State, was the number 3 player in the portal. I don't know his number. And then there's Jordan Seaton, from DC, went to IMG, Colorado the last 2 years, and the reports are his entry line number is 2.5, likely going to get over 3, could push 4. Texas is reportedly in the mix. Oregon's reportedly in the mix. Miami is reportedly in the mix. Schools with big-time budgets. Let me remind you also that Oregon got Dante Moore back, and Dylan Raiola, who had committed to Oregon, now has entered the transfer portal. So whatever money they had committed to Dylan Raiola either went to Dante Moore or now is getting reallocated potentially for a guy like Jordan Seaton. So all that to say, I look at this and I go, man, the class LSU has built has been incredible, but the money isn't endless. At some point, it's got to stop. So this makes sense that it would be the point where it does. Well, when you look at LSU's roster as a whole right now, the roster looks really good. You've got 3 amazing quarterbacks. You retained your top 2 running backs and added 3 more. You added 9 wide receivers. You retained your best defensive players, Whit Weeks, DJ Pickett. You added Ty Benefield. You added an elite 5-star edge rusher in Jordan Ross. Check. What was your weakest spot on the team? Say it out loud. What was the worst position group for LSU in 2025? The worst position group, we all know it, unanimous consensus. Offensive line. What's the one spot where you've added bodies, but not superstars? Offensive line. So you look at it now at what you have available as of today at left tackle, and you go, that may be the reason, the impetus, while they find the money to get this done. I'm going to work through that here in just a second. The options they have as of today at left tackle and why this might actually happen for LSU to have the opportunity to add Jordan Seaton to this portal class. We'll continue. It's Locked On LSU, your team every day. There's nothing like college football season, tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. But actually getting tickets, that part used to be frustrating. Long queues, logins, prices jumping at checkout. That's why Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Open the Game Time app, look at upcoming college football games like the national championship game, Indiana against Miami in South Beach, coming up on Monday. You will be surprised how fast it is to find great seats. And what I love, you can see the view from your seat before you buy, and also keeping and knowing the prices that include all the fees up front that keeps it honest. You know the process will be stress-free. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. If we run through right now what LSU has available at left tackle, here's your list. You have Darren Stray from Kentucky, who's a redshirt freshman. Played this year at Kentucky, took a redshirt, was 6'7", 310, central casting for an offensive tackle. Looks the part, but hasn't played. You got Darren Stray. You got Solomon Thomas, who could play tackle, could play on the interior, was a 5-star, late add to last year's class of 2025. Broke his foot before fall camp, basically missed the entire season, so hasn't played. Bryson Martinez from nearby East Ascension, top 100 overall prospect, 4-star, super athletic, giant human, but a true freshman. And then maybe Lamar Brown. Lamar Brown, number one athlete in America, could play defensive tackle, could play edge, could play offensive tackle, could play interior offensive line, could play anywhere that they need him. That's it. That's it. Look at all your other options. Tyree Adams is gone. Karius Kern is gone. DJ Chester is gone. Ethan Callaway is gone. Your tackles are gone. You don't have any. You added Darren Stray, but he hadn't played. You don't have anybody that has played tackle. Meaningful snaps at tackle in a college football game. None. Nobody on the roster. Now, Baylor offensive tackle Sean Thompkins, who we talked about in our previous episode. Shout out to our everydayers who caught that. If you're not familiar, Sean Thompkins, redshirted at Baylor, played the last couple of seasons. This past year, started the last 5 games of the season at left tackle. Didn't grade out super well at Pro Football Focus, but has started a handful of games in a power league. He committed via the portal to North Carolina, but is now taking a visit to LSU, so could very well end up in Baton Rouge. And that's a guy who has got some starting experience who could play left tackle. But is that the answer that you're looking for? I don't know that that's the answer. Now, the caveat is that you could end up seeing someone else jump in the portal. Remember, on Wednesday, Nick Anderson, the LSU receiver, jumped in the portal. Dylan Raiola went back in the portal. The portal's open through Friday. You don't have to choose your school by Friday. You just have to be in the portal by Friday. And we know how these deals are done. It's agents working back rooms and talking to schools. And the closer you get to the end of this portal cycle, you look for need. What schools with money to spend have a need? And where there is a larger demand and an insufficient supply, price is going to go up. So you're looking at a situation where you could still see offensive tackles somewhere go in the transfer portal. That's possible. But if you just look at the supply that exists right now, Jordan Seaton's the best one. And LSU has had an incredible class they put together and is in desperate need of offensive tackle help. And maybe 14 minutes into this episode, I'm burying the lead because maybe this should have been the first words out of my mouth. And I apologize if you've had to wait this long to hear this from me. But I asked, there is nothing credible from any source as of this moment that Jordan Seaton is visiting LSU. There is no credible source anywhere that has reported Seaton visiting LSU. None. Not Wiltfong, not Nakos, not any of them. None, not Hayes Fawcett, none of them. And nobody locally either. And I've had a pretty good finger on the pulse of guys that are visiting, and I've told you about every time I get one up, I put it out there, tell you. But I asked no less than 5 people who have been the sources of information I've gone to for answers to these types of questions in this portal cycle. And not one of them would answer this question about Jordan Seaton. None of them. 2 people I asked didn't know. They didn't know. Gave me a shrug, don't know. One person was coy and said, maybe a trick up the sleeve. Another person said, can neither confirm nor deny. And I had someone in the agent community, familiar with the agent world, tell me they think Seaton is visiting. Now, that's singularly sourced, and I'm not going to the air to report this. So I'm not reporting that. I still, as of this moment, do not know if Jordan Seaton is visiting LSU. I'm being very transparent with you. I have not been able to confirm that. I look at this, however, and go, I just saw the magic trick that Lane Kiffin pulled off in 48 hours, getting Sam Levitt on board after that ship had sailed, brother. Let me tell you, that was over when he left Baton Rouge. And somehow, not only did you re-engage, but you got him here. And then, not only did you get Levitt, but Husan Longstreet ends up jumping aboard as well, leaving a place where he was a backup to come here to be a backup. It's stunning. It defies logic. I don't know what Lane Kiffin is telling these guys. I don't know what magic spell he's putting on them, but it's working. And I'm going to tell you this. LSU Athletic Director Verge Ausberry did an interview with Michael Cobble from WBRZ Television. And he said something that struck me. Give a listen.
We have young men in that building who was offered NIL packages to go other places, and they took close to 0 or nothing to come here because they knew what LSU would do for you. The quarterback who signed, he had a lot of options. Anywhere they want to go in the country, but they know what LSU could do for you, our brand. We've had 2 Heisman Trophy winners at that position here in the last 5 years. And if you come to LSU and you do well, that's what could happen. You could be in a national championship here every other year.
What kind of Jedi mind trick is Lane Kiffin playing? There's the athletic director at LSU, Verge Ausberry, saying there's guys that took close to nothing to stay here or to come here. That don't make a lick of sense. So I get it. I'm looking intuitively, I'm looking at Jordan Seaton going, late in the process, that guy goes in the portal because he knows he's about to get broke off. The bidding is starting at 2.5, and there's reports it could get up to $4 million. LSU's probably already spent more. I'm sure they've spent more on this signing class than they had intended to spend. And now the number 1 offensive tackle jumps in the portal, and he's going to command maybe $4 million. LSU's probably got to tap out here because they've already spent so much. I just believe anything at this point. Like, why would you doubt Lane Kiffin? He's the self-proclaimed portal king. He's proving it. He proved it at Ole Miss. He's proving it now. I mean, I don't know why I would doubt him. Now, I'll tell you this, one little tidbit. I did find out who Jordan Seaton's agent is. Now, you're going to find it anywhere on the internet. Like, it's not published anywhere, but it's SMAC, S-M-A-C. And it's Michael Strahan's agency. And it's the same agency that works with Deion Sanders. Makes sense, right? Over there at Colorado. Point being, like, so much of these conversations exist in the agent world. Because, as I've told you a million times, everyone who yells about tampering, there's nothing about it. It's agents talking to coaches and reps and things, and everything is done behind the scenes, as it should be. Let coaches and players focus on football. Let agents and reps and GMs focus on the terms of a deal. And that's what's happening. And word is starting to spread that maybe, just maybe, Jordan Seaton might end up visiting and might end up at LSU. And at this point, as improbable as this whole quarterback thing is that's unfolded, I'd believe darn near anything. If you told me Lane Kiffin was going to coach with his clothes on backwards and stand on the visiting sideline just for kicks, I might believe you at this point. And if you tell me Jordan Seaton can end up at LSU, I might believe it. I'm not making a bold prediction because I don't know. I'm telling you candidly, I do not have the answer. I have not had anyone confirm to me yet that he is even going to visit. But I just see that there's a very clear need that LSU has. There's the best player at that position in the country, in the portal. LSU has gotten darn near everything they wanted in this portal class. Why not him too? Why not him too? I bet we're going to find out pretty soon. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. Couple of other things that I want to share here as the portal reopens. The dead period is lifted on Thursday, so visits can resume. Remember, you had the coaches convention Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so no visits. That's over now, so Thursday visits can resume. Oregon tight end and halfback Zach Grace is expected to visit LSU, as is Baylor offensive tackle Sean Thompkins, who we already talked about. So expect those two visits. Again, we're going to keep an eye on Sean Seaton. On Jordan Seaton. And then we talked to Shea Dixon from On 3 The Bengal Tiger every week. And LSU apparently isn't done with the high school class of 2026 either. Now, remember, you can sign up to 105 now. You don't have to sign 105, but you can. And LSU is going to bring in Jackson Williams, a defensive back from Shaw in New Orleans, for an official visit this weekend.
I found the interesting thing to be that they've gone high school recruiting at DB. And now Jackson Williams, who helped lead Shaw to back-to-back state title games, is going to make an official visit this weekend. Look, he's been committed to Tulane. He was once committed to Washington State. That sort of fell apart. Committed to Tulane with when they had those staff changes. And now he got an LSU offer this week. So kind of keeping an eye on what Jake Olson and Corey Raymond are doing there, because it's not the first guy that they've added now from the high school level, or at least will push to add. I expect that, being a Louisiana kid, that now that he's got that offer, he would likely take the visit and land in the class. But we're keeping an eye on it. Again, I didn't expect many guys, I completely forget about February signing day. So when guys are popping up and grabbing offers who are still in this 2026 class, it makes it intriguing. And they've already got a JUCO lineman, and they've added some FCS players, including a quarterback. So I guess you're hitting on every single level of this, even high school, when we thought high school would be done.
So Jackson Williams from Shaw in New Orleans will take an official visit this weekend. He could be a February signee. And LSU landed a commitment from a 2026 defensive back. Remember, you had the December signing period. Guys that are seniors in high school can still sign in the February signing period, just so few do. Well, Emari Peterson has committed to LSU.
Yeah, this is one I did not have much, knowledge about going into things, because he wasn't a Louisiana or border state kid. He's out of Orlando, Florida, but a member of this 2026 class, plays corner right now, had been committed to West Virginia, backed off of that. And when he did, he decided he wasn't signing early. And like I said, this is a kid who's a 3-star. It wasn't like he was kind of drawing a lot of national attention when we were going through that early December window of that signing period. But you just glance at him, multi-sport athlete, track background, 6'2", 180. I mean, this is the type of guys Corey Raymond usually goes after. And now he pops for LSU, plans to enroll early. And I don't know if that means he signs in February or he kind of inks now. I don't know how that works. But adding an early enrollee where, like I said, track kid running the 100, 200, 400. I'm looking at kind of an interview we did with him, Bryce did with him for the Bengal Tiger, where he says he's at 185 right now. So he'll be getting to campus around that size. And he said, look, Coach Raymond has sort of been in touch with me from the moment they offered. And now that we're living in this world, which we've got to remember, 105 scholarships, you don't have to fill them all, but you're not limited to 85 anymore. So you can make moves like this to give yourself depth at positions you might feel good about, right? Like, we know they've got returners at corner they feel good about. We know that They've got returners at safety they feel good about. And you lose Halsey, and you landed a top 10 guy out of the portal in Benefield coming out of Boise State, who they're really high on. So it's been interesting that DB has been the one where they've sort of built that depth back up as guys hit the portal with late high school additions, instead of going the portal route where a lot of guys are kind of looking for, hey, I want to start, or I need to be guaranteed to play, or here's what my number is. These guys here just like, wait, Corey Raymond's calling me and is offering, like, I'm all right, where do I sign up? Let me know when to show up to campus. So as I said, coming out of Orlando, Emari Peterson is in, and then they'll host another this weekend at safety, and we'll see kind of where it goes from there.
Emari Peterson's committed. Jackson Williams will visit this weekend. We'll see if they'll add another 2026 prospect. Roster building happens at all levels in 2026. It's the easiest example to give, but just look at Trinidad Chambliss. They went and found him at Division II, and he changed Ole Miss's season. So be it JUCO, Division III, Division II, the FCS, the G5, the Power 4, high school, they're leaving no stone unturned to find the best players, and we'll see who they may polish off this recruiting class with, but very likely a couple of more linemen still to come. And as they do, we'll certainly talk about it right here on Locked on LSU. So please, if you're on podcast, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. Shout out to everyone who watches us every single weekday on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network as well. And be sure to let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day.